For the big story of the day, T-minus 4 hours until the 8 Democrats running for president square off at Dartmouth College. The debate is sponsored by NECN and NBC News. So let's get the lowdown. NECN's R.D. Salas standing by live at the debate site in Hanover, New Hampshire. R.D.?
Leslie, thank you. Welcome back to the Hopkins Center at Dartmouth, where 7 big men are on campus tonight and 1 big woman, if the new CNN WMUR poll is correct, giving Hillary Clinton a double-digit lead over her nearest competitor, Barack Obama. We'll be talking more about that poll. Our guest this half hour, Jim Browdy.
You meant big in a figurative way, is that correct? I want to be very clear.
Yes, all right.
Our guest is the Boston-based senior advisor to the Joe Biden for President campaign, John Marttila. Hi, John.
Hey, Jim. R.D., nice to be here.
For a guy, a presidential candidate who's been talking power sharing every sentence out of his mouth, big day for your guy in the U.S. Senate, no?
Very, very big day. Very big day for the country. I think what happened is that last week the earth sort of moved when President Bush made it absolutely clear he was not going to finish this war during his term in office. And I think what happened today is the Senate responded with the only sensible approach that's out there, which is our troops are immersed in a vicious civil war. We have to find a strategy. That's the responsibility of American leaders, to find a strategy to put them in a safe place. And I also think it makes the most sense for the Iraqi people.
And this was a resolution that essentially suggests that Baghdad decentralized. Less power to the federal government,
right.
More power to the ethnically divided regions.
And out of all the ideas that have been proposed for Iraq, this passed overwhelmingly. The vote was 75-23. 25 of the Republicans supported it. It's a true bipartisan measure of congressional sentiment.
This is the so-called soft partition alternative that we've heard about, not the creation of 3 separate entities, a Kurdish, a Sunni, and a Shia entity within Iraq.
It adheres to the provisions of the Iraqi constitution.
How does it address the division of oil revenue, the division of the oil-producing territory, which has been a stumbling block all along in talking about the 3-state solution, and even in the strong governments?
It assumes that the oil will be shared with equally on a per capita basis within the 3 different groups.
John Marttila, the morning poll, WMUR poll that has Hillary Clinton crushing all of her rivals as of today, seems to suggest that experience is the critical ingredient. She scores very high. Your guy has been a leader in the Senate for 3 decades, including on foreign relations, yet hardly registers in these numbers. What's the deal?
Well, I think he's not as well known, nearly as well known as either Hillary or Barack, so that's number 1. But number 2, we're not really worried about this. I don't want to seem sublime in the face of those numbers, but nevertheless, Democratic primary voters in presidential politics have historically been late deciders for the past generation, and Iowa in particular has been late deciders. At a comparable moment, my friend John Kerry had been written off by most of the national press at this particular moment, and he went on to kind of win a huge win in Iowa, and then went on to get the nomination.
Some of the regional press, too, I should say, were writing him off in that particular... But if it turns out with this big moment today, the 75-23 vote, obviously a watershed moment for Joe Biden, if in a week or 2 weeks this doesn't gain him traction, is it time for him to say, this is just not the time for me?
Not a chance. You don't know Joe Biden. He's in all the way. He's going to stay in all the way. The entire group around him has been with him for years and years. Everybody is loyal. We're totally dedicated to this guy. He could be the best president by far, as far as I'm concerned. And today's vote really is a significant acknowledgement of his leadership on this issue. He fought for this by himself for the past 2 years, picked it up. It's a quintessential example of what should be American presidential leadership. He seized the idea, he led, he fought for it, and today he got the reward he deserved.
But to be clear here, it does not compel a change in policy.
Well, I think it begins to change. Well, yeah, it certainly does. I mean, it doesn't compel it by law, but I think what it does show is that American leaders in the Senate, Democrat and Republican, have lost faith in the idea of propping up a central government that cannot get the trust of the people. So what we're doing right now is, what he's proposing is to let them pull back, gain some space, and then move forward.
Historically, the American people have elected only 2 presidents directly from the United States Senate, Warren G. Harding and John F. Kennedy. Why does Joe Biden think he can?
I just think that the number 1 issue in America today is Iraq. It will be Iraq next year. The president has made that absolutely clear. What the country is going to do, and this will happen in Iowa first, is people are going to praise these candidates and say, okay, which one of them can get us out of this mess? Which one of them can cure the savaging of our reputation across the world? And I think as people get closer to a day of decision, I think Senator Biden's qualities will become clearer and clearer.
We'll see you in Spin Alley later tonight?
Absolutely.
John Marttila from the Biden campaign.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, John.